For years, people have been looking up and seeing weird stuff in the sky, but nobody knew what it was. Some folks started saying, yo, that gotta be creatures from another world, spying on us. And that's how the whole aliens thing started. But is that really the truth? To find the answer, we gotta go way back. Exactly to city of Nuremberg in Germany in 1561. People were looking up at the sky, and they noticed that it was full of weird shapes all moving around like if they were fighting each other. Imagine the whole city pointing, screaming, not knowing what's going on. The local newspaper back then drew a whole page showing these flying shapes like a battle happening above their heads, and it didn't stop there. Just a few years later, people in Switzerland said they saw balls of fire flying across the sky, round objects chasing each other, disappearing, and coming back. Some folks thought it was some kind of warning from God. And if you go even further back, there's old cave art, like 30,000 years old, that shows humans drawing weird stuff in the sky, figures hovering over people. People been trying to explain this for thousands of years, but no one could know what it is. Point is, this ain't new. Humans been seeing weird stuff up there forever, and every time it happened, it left the same feeling: fear, wonder, and confusion. But here's the thing, this was just the beginning. To see how all this turned into the idea of the aliens are real, we gotta jump forward, almost 400 years later. In the summer of 1947, out in the New Mexico desert, something fell from the sky. Nobody knew what it was at first, so they called the cops. One of the first to find it was a rancher named Mac Brazel. He was checking on his sheep when he spotted weird debris pieces of metal that bent like foil but didn't break. He had no clue what it was, but he knew it wasn't normal. He took some pieces into town. When rumors started spreading, the military got involved fast. They cordoned off the area, took the debris away, and told everyone to forget about it. Then, on July 8, 1947, the local newspaper published the first story and called it a flying disc. Everyone who read it was shocked. But just hours later, the Air Force said it was just a weather balloon. That's it, nothing special. People got confused. Why say fly saucer first, then change it? Why did they want to hide it so fast? But it didn't stop there. Witnesses started coming forward years later. Some said they saw small bodies taken by the military. Others said the crash site got cleaned up and erased. It felt like something bigger was going on, and they were trying to keep it secret. Roswell wasn't just a crash. It was the first time aliens hit the mainstream. Even though the world was still getting over World War II, the technology still kept moving fast. So 1947 was just the start. People kept asking, are aliens real? Or are humans just messing with crazy tech experiments? Like in 1952, people started seeing weird lights in the sky. Pilots went up to check it out, but every time they got close, the lights just vanished. Then, when the planes backed off, the lights came back, almost like something was messing with them. And after they reported what happened, all the news started talking about it. But surprisingly, it wasn't just in the US. It was popping up everywhere: Europe, South America, even Russia. And it's the same story. Glowing balls moving in a weird pattern. But nobody had answers. The US got nervous, so the Air Force started a project called Blue Book. And thousands of reports came in, some that explained, as weather, balloons, or even stars. But not all. Some stayed unexplained. And little by little, regular people started looking up too, wondering if the government really didn't know what it was. But then the story got way darker. Because by the late 50s, early 60s, people said it wasn't just lights in the sky anymore. They said the lights came down and pulled them in. And one of the first big stories was the Barney and Betty Hill incident in 1961. They were driving late at night in New Hampshire, and they saw a bright craft following them. Suddenly, they passed out. Next thing, hours were gone, even though it felt like minutes to them. Later, after they took a hypnosis test, both of them said the same thing. There were tall beings with big black eyes, taking them into a ship, running tests on them. Betty even drew a star map she said she saw inside the ship. Years later, astronomers said it matched a real system called Zeta Reticuli, which sounds unbelievable. Then there was another case of a cop named Herbert in Nebraska, 1967. He stopped to check a weird object on the road. Later said he saw beings who told him he was chosen. Later, doctors found a red scar on his neck he couldn't explain. And there is another story that happened in Brazil in 1957 when Antonio Villas Boas said he got taken right off his tractor. Inside a ship, he was forced to mate with a female alien. And surprisingly, doctors found radiation burns on his body. So is there really something out there? Or is our government trying to hide something from us? For example, in 1978, the CIA dropped thousands of declassified UFO files that belonged to the 40s and 50s. And also, it appears that there is a secret group called Majestic 12. Some of its files got leaked out, saying they were hiding alien tech and even alien bodies, but no one knows if it's true or not. Fast forward to 2017. The Pentagon finally admitted they'd been running a secret program called AATIP, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, that spent millions of dollars searching for UFOs. But they said it ended in 2012, even though a lot of people don't believe that it really stopped. Then, in 2020, the Pentagon officially released 3 Navy pilot videos tracking objects that moved like nothing they've ever seen. One said it looked like a tic-tac with no wings. Another voice on the tape says, "There's a whole fleet of them." So the real question is, why does this type of information always get covered up for a long time before showing it to the public? And why is it always blurry or unclear, even though we now have high-quality cameras? Turns out some of them are actually clear, like the Phoenix lights in '97, a massive V of glowing lights drifting across the sky, and multiple people were filming it from different angles. Then there's O'Hare Airport in 2006. The United Airlines workers saw a shiny disc hovering over the runway, and they took clear pictures of it. Then it suddenly shot straight up into the clouds, leaving a weird hole in the sky. And let's not forget about the Hudson Valley. Back in the 80s, when a whole neighborhood saw these huge, solid craft above them, and no one knew what it was. But even with all the photos and witnesses, some of those incidents turned out to be just normal things that people thought were UFOs only because they hadn't seen them before. For example, in World War II, pilots kept seeing glowing balls flying around their planes at night. They called them Foo Fighters, and they were moving super fast, so they thought it was aliens. But later, scientists figured out it was just natural electricity reflecting in the sky. And another incident in Michigan in the late 60s. People swore they saw UFOs over swamps. Big, glowing shapes moving around. Turned out it was just swamp gas that rises, hits the cold night air, and starts glowing and floating around. And sometimes, it was just weather balloons that people thought were UFOs flying in the sky. But what about the ones no one could explain? Take Tehran incident, for example. Pilots were chasing some lights over the city. But suddenly, when the jet got close, all the controls turned off. The radio, the weapons, and everything else. But when the pilot backed off, everything started working again. Also in Belgium in the late 80s. Whole towns saw these giant black triangles in the sky, moving quietly without making any sound. And then, suddenly, they disappeared. Or the Rendlesham Forest in England in 1980. US soldiers saw lights in the woods near their base. They went to check it, and they found weird marks in the dirt. But they couldn't figure out what it was. And there's still another one that happened with Japan Airlines in 1986. A big cargo plane was flying over Alaska when the captain saw a huge craft following them for a long time. They reported it, but still, they couldn't explain what it was. That's why, to this day, people are still asking the same question: are we really alone? Or is there something we haven't discovered yet? But still, not everything up there is aliens. Some of it was just normal things that no one was able to explain at the time. Years later, scientists found logical answers to those incidents. But not all of it. There are still those moments nobody can explain, especially the ones that keep happening the same way, even though it's in different parts of the world. Because at the end of the day, the universe is very huge. And it's scary to think we might be the only living beings that ever exist. That just shows you how rare we are as human beings. So maybe there's a possibility that something is out there. But as long as we don't find it and prove it's legit, no one can know if aliens are real or not. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just don't forget to like it and make sure you hit the subscribe button to watch more videos like this.